Critical analysis. Blended learning is any combined use of the electronic learning tools that supplement but do not replace face-to-face learning. The learning sequence I have created makes use of the blended learning idea. This is done by basing the first two learning experiences at the chosen creative learning space, the Urge Cinema, while the final two learning experiences focus on building the narratives by allowing students to select how they wish to publish their work and which coding app they would like to use. In traditional classrooms, this kind of learning sequence would not be possible due to the structured nature of the classroom. When students are given the opportunity to work in an environment outside the classroom or school, they are empowered to be in control of their learning and finished product. However, I believe it is important to set certain criteria for students to follow, which ensures they are meeting the specific outcomes for the learning experience. This also enables students who often do not perform well in the classroom to develop an understanding of how what they learn can be applied to the outside world. The learning sequence is specifically focused on the Edge Cinema. However, the learning experiences can be used in any area the teacher would deem appropriate, such as a park, shopping centre, playground, or a random street. The key is to be creative and choose a creative space which is safe, relevant, and interesting for students. The principles and pedagogies of new literacy is stated to be experiencing, conceptualizing, analyzing, and applying. These are applied throughout the learning experience in a number of ways to ensure students are working within a fair and interesting learning space and utilising technology when creating their narratives. Experiencing. Let students do most of the work. Students need to experience learning in an authentic and kinesthetic way. This enables students to develop a deep and meaningful understanding of the learning experience. Within the first learning experience, students use their prior knowledge when using the Bebot application, then apply this knowledge to the new task of creating their own codes to move their peers around the Edge Cinema. Conceptualizing. The second learning experience allows students to expand upon the previous learning experience by connecting the idea of using coding as a map to create movement. This allows them to create narrative based on an area within the Edge Cinema that encompasses coding with it. Students also learn to utilize and define certain coding and programming terms when creating their narratives, incorporating meta language into the learning experience. Analyzing. Interactivity is the heart and soul of effective learning. In the third learning experience, students are to complete their narratives by discussing aspects of it with their peers. This allows for students to critically analyse their work from an objective view, as well as learning how to critically analyse the work of others. Learning how to understand other people's perspectives, writing, and learning styles will spark questions like what they liked most about their narrative and why did they think this was the most effective way to write. Students also learn how to structure and use certain websites and computer applications like Microsoft Word or Storyboard, which gives them greater choice in how they present their material. Applying. In the final learning experience of the sequence, students learn how to apply the new technology like Daisy the Dino or Move the Turtle to incorporate a higher form of coding and programming into their narratives. To create relevance to the lesson, students will read their stories to Stage 1 classes, giving the students increased relevance and a goal to strive and work towards encouraging greater creativity and context to their learning. Opportunities. This learning sequence allows students a multitude of opportunities, including cross-KLA integration, visual arts, students integrate art for their narrative using the Storyboard app, mathematics, students learn about a number sense and direction when creating code within their narratives, PDHPE, students use basic orienteering when creating code and often work in groups learning how to work cooperatively. Resources. Students are given a variety of resources to choose from in order to develop an understanding of coding and how it can be related to narrative writing. Imaginative thinking. By creating a narrative based on a specific area of the Edge Cinema, students are developed creative writing skills that will be relevant in NAPLAN exams. Computer literacy. Students learn how to become more computer literate through the use of different applications on computers and iPads. Drawing students in. Students who are usually uninterested or disengaged with creative writing tasks will become engaged when taken to a new creative area to learn in. Limitations. Only one visit a week. These lessons would have to be spaced out over the course of at least 4 weeks, as it would be impossible to go to the Edge Cinema every day. Distractions. Students may become distracted by the new environment. Special needs students. Autistic students in particular would have to be prepped for this change at least every day for a month before the first visit. Even then, these students may find the change too overwhelming, causing the learning sequence to become less effective. A socio-cultural approach to literacy includes multi-literacies such as linguistic, visual, auditory, gestural, and spatial forms. An awareness of this helps educators to recognise that teaching and learning is happening in various literal models. It is important to incorporate semiotic needs into learning sequences to ensure a variety of students' needs are cared for. Semiotic needs catered for in this learning sequence are auditory. Auditory needs are catered for by students reading their narratives aloud, discussing different aspects of the text, and working in groups. Gestural. Gestural needs are catered for by students making notes about how and where they move around the Edge Cinema. Visual. Visual needs are catered for by students interacting with computers and iPads, publishing their narratives on the computer, and displaying their narratives in front of the class. Linguistic. Linguistic needs are catered for by students writing their draft narratives on paper and using linguistic skills when typing. And spatial. Spatial needs are catered for by students making use of the Edge Cinema space by moving around the area to find inspiration for their narratives. In summation, I believe I have developed an understanding of how future literacies will be used within the New Age classroom. Learning sequences will be taught in different locations outside of the traditional classroom, allowing students to learn in areas both aesthetically pleasing and where they feel comfortable and their needs are met. I still feel that traditional classrooms will not be replaced fully, but creative spaces will be integrated within them. Thank you.